We talked about this last week. In the aftermath of the abysmal opening weekend box office for Joker, you started to see a lot of articles coming out from Warner Brothers trying to say, hey, just so you know, James Gunn wasn't involved with this. Todd Phillips had full reign to do whatever he wanted. He didn't want to hold any test screenings. We let him do whatever he wanted, and this is what he gave us. Please don't blame anyone else here. And, there's a reason that was happening. If this had been another success like Joker and something that the audience loved, we probably wouldn't be seeing this blame game getting passed around. It'd probably be the studio being like, hey, we're so happy we made such a great decision letting Todd Phillips do his thing. However, the critics and the audience are united in thinking that Joker 2 is a massive fucking disappointment. They even came out and said, yeah, it's kind of disappointed us at the box office. They've had to admit this because there's no hiding that fact. Because as bad as the opening weekend was, Jay, the second weekend is historic. It's breaking records that were set by the Marvels. Joker 2 box office plunges in second weekend. Worst drop ever for a comic book movie. We're talking about an 81% drop from the first weekend to the second weekend. This is what happens when you have such poor word of mouth. And this is what a lot of us talked about. Word of mouth. You can see it a little bit in how it performs and on Saturdays and Sundays and things like that. But where you really see it is in that second weekend. All through the week, it didn't look like it was going to perform well. And then on the weekend, it absolutely tanked. And maybe the most embarrassing thing for them is that Terrifier 3, which, by the way, is a very low-budget clown horror movie with a budget of $2 million, took first place at the box office. $18 million domestic box office debut for Terrifier 3. Just to be clear, it cost 1/100th of what Joker 2 cost to make.
Jeez.
Because its budget was $200 million. This is a nightmare for them. It does not get much worse than this. The follow-up to a movie that a lot of people felt was a very good movie, a standalone movie, and should have remained that way. They wanted to double down. They wanted to hopefully get another billion-dollar box office hit, and it is not going to do that. It's going to lose a lot of money for Warner Brothers, which is already significantly in debt.
That first article that you pulled up, did that say like Warner Brothers is aghast?
Yes.
How Todd Phillips massacred their boy. If that's, I mean, don't they have to watch it first and like sign? I mean, I don't know how that works, but you would think.
One of the things that has come out after this is that Warner Brothers basically gave Todd Phillips free reign to do whatever he wanted after the success of the first one. That a couple people gave notes, but he didn't want anything to do with like James Gunn or whatever. This is not like a James Gunn production. They've distanced themselves from anything that James Gunn is doing with DC right now. They didn't hold any fucking test screenings for it, anything like that.
They just assumed because it was $1 billion. Yeah.
And to be honest, that might have been what Todd Phillips asked for. Todd Phillips was never planning on making another one. Didn't want to make another one. Had no plans for it. They gave him $20 million to do this. That might have been one of his things. Hey, I want full autonomy to do whatever I want. And Warner Brothers might have greenlit that. At the end of the day, it's a Warner Brothers issue. They tried to double down on the success, even though a lot of people felt this probably doesn't need a second entry. And even though the cast and director weren't necessarily on board and you had to pay them an obscene amount of money for them to do it, but you wanted to do it anyway. It is Warner Brothers' fault for
greed, man. This. Greed will get you. The other thing that you pulled up was the weekend, right? And like number 2 was the Wild Robot.
Yeah,
that seems to be doing very well, and a lot of people are enjoying that. It says here that it's going to be released on digital tomorrow, October 15th. You think that's a little early? Like, given that it was number 2, but I know it's been out since September, but still, that's a quick turnaround to come out on digital, don't you think? Or
it is. That doesn't mean it's on streaming, right? Which is something that people get confused on. This is like video on demand rental. Hey, for $25, you can rent it for 24, whatever. You know what I mean? But that is what we've seen DreamWorks do with a lot of their releases. Remember Puss in Boots, Last Wish? I think they did something very similar for that. And that movie went on to be very successful. The Wild Robot, another DreamWorks production. They're making these movies at significantly less cost than places like Disney are for their animated shit. All their animated movies are like $200 million budgets. Whereas a lot of stuff we see come out from DreamWorks, Illumination, whatever, that's like 70, 80, 85 million dollars,
See, that's the thing I always wondered for like something like this, something brand new that everybody knows that it'll be released, that you could watch it at home in about a month, that would hurt box office, but apparently it's doing okay.
I don't think that really matters to most people, if I'm being real. I just don't. I don't.
No.
If movies are good, people will take their families to go see them. Children's movies typically have a little bit longer legs as well, because it's not always necessarily about, hey, you got to go see it opening weekend. These are families we're talking about. You got to make sure all the kids are ready to go. You got a weekend free, stuff like that. But it's still yet to release. It's kind of a slower rollout in some places as well. There's some places that I believe the Wild Robot has yet to be released in. So I anticipate the international box office to continue to grow and grow and grow with this one. We'll see. Certainly getting good feedback. I want to go see it. I've heard good things about it.
I've heard great things about that and Transformers 1, which I thought they did a terrible job on the marketing, but it's where is that thing? It's
shit, look at this. The updated numbers.
Here we go.
We may have got the updated numbers, and it's not even in third place. It fell down to fourth. Beetlejuice had a little bit higher. It's still got some legs left in it. Beetlejuice. Warner Brothers is kicking Warner Brothers out of the third place at the box office. This has been a movie, like, it's funny because the fall season, however you want to say it, probably one of the biggest successes we saw was Beetlejuice, and the biggest failure we've seen is Joker 2, both Warner Brothers movies. There you have it. This movie needed to hit probably around 300 million to break even. Certainly has done that.
So still well.
I wonder if that means we'll get a Beetlejuice. I kind of hope not.
But you're right, man. Word of mouth is it'll break you, man. That word of mouth is bad. Like, people will just turn away quickly. So
it's true. It's one of the reasons they don't want fans speaking about these things. It's weird how for this one, I don't know where the narrative is out there. Male lead, male director. Man, why aren't people talking about how sexist it is that people are talking about how this movie is failing? Look at these people. They just want to see these men fail at the box office. It's weird how that works, isn't it?
Very. But it also goes to show you, like, when like Disney or Lucasfilm, when they have a show, you can always tell, like, their confidence in the show when the embargo is lifted. If they give it like a week or so when the embargo is lifted and like they let the critics talk about it, I feel like they have a little more confidence in their show. But like a show like Agatha, they didn't release the embargo to the day the show came out. So pretty funny.
Yep, that's how it works.